Now, Washington Mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. At AM 630. WMAL.
8:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. It's Brian Wilson, James Carafano from the Heritage Foundation joining us today, and we're very pleased to have on the phone the former mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani. Mr. Mayor, how are you today?
I'm excellent. How are you? Looking forward to the debate tonight.
Yeah, I think we all are. You have been very critical of how the president has handled the situation in Libya. This is the national security debate. How do you expect it's going to come up tonight, and what do you hope to learn when all is said and done about the situation in Libya?
Well, I just saw Senator Lindsey Graham, and about a week ago, Senator Graham wrote the president a letter. And in the letter, he pointed out to the president that there were two attacks on that consulate, one in April, one in June, I believe, of 2012. One of them blew a hole in the wall big enough for a truck to go through, according to eyewitnesses. What I would like to know, because the president hasn't addressed himself to this, is why didn't the president tell us this when he discussed this incident? Did the president know about it? If he knew about it, why did they reduce security for the consulate? And if he didn't know about it, what the heck kind of a national security staff does he have? And how could he possibly been in doubt from the moment this happened that this was a terrorist attack? Why do we have all this confusion about whether it was or it wasn't? If there had been two prior attacks on that same consulate, and by the way, the British consulate, which was next door, moved out because they would not put their personnel in the same kind of jeopardy. They figured
it out.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't put their personnel in the same kind of jeopardy President Obama did.
Yeah, so you've been watching this unfold for a month now. What does this tell you about the president's leadership and the way he leads?
It tells me the president is not a leader. I've never thought he was. I think the president leads from behind. I think that's an oxymoron. I don't think you lead from behind. If you lead from behind, you're a follower. I think we see playing out just how incompetent his whole strategy in the Middle East has been. We had an ally in Egypt. We now have what the president can't even describe as an ally any longer in Egypt. We have the Muslim Brotherhood running Egypt. In Libya, we have a government that may be moderate, but the government can't control the Islamic terrorist forces there, who've killed, one of our ambassadors, the first one killed since Jimmy Carter. We've got Iran that is moving closer and closer to becoming a nuclear power. They put out this phony report about, they want to have talks, which doesn't excite me at all, because all they're going to do is just fool around with Obama if they talk to him. But White House says that's not even true. I mean, President's been begging them to talk to him for 4 years. I mean, he's basically been embarrassing himself.
Can you tell me why it is, in your opinion, that the White House wanted to put out this alternative narrative of what happened in Benghazi and that it was some protest that spiraled out of control? What was the motivation to tell the story that way?
Well, the motivation has to be that they want to present a false picture of a Libya that was a great success for the administration. It's not any different than all the things they did after killing bin Laden. I mean, I give them great credit for killing bin Laden. Problem is they took more credit than they're entitled to. They leaked information to Hollywood. They tried to have this movie made of President Obama, the superhero. We've got the Navy SEALs really upset with the president because the president has basically taken all the credit from them. I think this is all part of a re-election narrative to make President Obama effective in foreign policy when he's in fact been, except for killing bin Laden, a disaster in foreign policy.
Okay, so up until now, just ending every speech with "I got bin Laden" has pretty much been the president's get-out-of-jail-free card. So Benghazi's been a little hole in that. You talk to people all over the world, about what's going on. What do you think's really going on with Al-Qaeda? Where are they dead?
Al-Qaeda is not as centralized as it was before. The killing of bin Laden did remove a charismatic leader and did put a hole in at least a traditional Al-Qaeda organization. However, there are many Al-Qaeda affiliates all throughout the world. What is the one operating in Libya you'd have to describe as loosely connected to Al-Qaeda, not in some kind of a direct chain of command. But there are many of them. There are maybe 20, 25 organizations that we have to be very, very careful of. And then there are also all of these self-propelled jihadists, like the guy who almost attacked the Federal Reserve the other day in New York. And these people are also exceedingly dangerous, and they're part of the war on terror, which President Obama doesn't seem to want to admit exists. The problem with the president saying that we're not at war with Islamic extremist terrorists is they're at war with us. And I think he's living in a cloud to some extent. I think he's living in his own little world, and he rejects a lot of these dangers. I really would like the answer to did he know about the prior attacks on the consulate? Because if he did, and he did not provide more security for that consulate, then we have something seriously wrong.
So
with our
let's
president.
jump to an issue that almost nobody's talked about in the debate. It's got very little play. It's got a whole segment in the debate tonight. It's probably the biggest foreign policy issue of the next 30 years, and that's China.
Well, I think one of the real problems that the president presents with China is this very, very dramatically shrinking defense budget. Which I mean, if the projections occur, and it turns out from Bob Woodward's book that it's the president who actually suggested sequestration, a way of dealing with our budget problems. But if we go back to a 1916 Navy, if we take hundreds of billions of dollars out of our defense spending, we're going to encourage the hardliners in China to challenge us militarily, to challenge us at least for primacy in the Pacific. The president has to maintain a strong military for us in order to keep China in check and make sure that our competition with China is an economic competition, not a military competition.
Because you can be sure that the Chinese government's not going to pull back on their defense spending. They're expanding their defense spending.
And if you make the target easier for them by reducing our defense spending, if you make it more realistic for them to catch us, then you really risk an exceedingly dangerous relationship with China. And I honestly believe the president has shown to me he is so unrealistic. He lives so much in this academic left-wing world. I don't think he can understand exactly what I'm saying.
All right.
I don't know if anybody really gives him that kind of hard information.
There are three real battleground states. I mean, there are a lot of them, but I mean, the three that matter most are Ohio, Virginia, the Commonwealth, right in our backyard here, and then finally Florida. I know you've been down to Florida campaigning on behalf of senatorial candidate Connie Mack, Congressman Mack. I want to ask you, first of all, what's your sense about the Sunshine State, and also, is Connie Mack going to be able to pull that race out? Because last time I saw it was not looking too good.
Well, I campaigned for Mitt on Saturday here, and I campaigned with Connie all day yesterday, and I'm in Boca for the debate now.
Okay.
And I have a home in Florida, so I get to know Florida pretty well. I think that Connie's going to pull it out. I think he's going to pull it out a couple of points behind Governor Romney. I see Governor Romney winning Florida by 4 or 5. Connie Mack probably 2-3. I think that the race is getting exceedingly close. I think the debate between Connie Mack and Senator Nelson was a big victory for Connie, much like Mitt Romney's debate against Obama.
Right.
I mean, Senator Nelson, in some kind of a strange, almost Biden-like statement, said that he voted for a budget in the last 4 years. That the Senate actually presented a budget in the last 4 years. Well, now either he's mistaken, dreaming, or not telling the truth.
Right.
But under Harry Reid, we've had no budget from the United States Senate.
All right.
It's a good enough reason to fire him just on that basis.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you joining us this morning from Boca as you prepare and get ready to watch the big debate tonight. Thanks for being with us.
It's going to be interesting. Thank you very, very much.
Mayor Rudy Giuliani.